Hello, I'm Kaji from grade 12, and today I'll be talking about the unknown power of individuals. Would you find it peculiar if I told you that mosquitoes changed my life? If you delve into the world of mosquitoes, you'll find lots of interesting facts about them. There are over 3,500 species. They can drink up to 3 times their weight in blood, and they only tend to live around 2 weeks. Don't worry, I'm not going to stand here and talk 10 minutes about mosquitoes. And I'm not here to talk about how we infringe upon mosquito rights every time we kill a mosquito. I'm not that vegan. However, mosquito was the central content of one sentence said to me by my best friend Seika, which changed my life. Let's backtrack first. The year is 2004. I'm 4 years old, an Australian girl attending a public school in Japan. Back then, life was so simple, wasn't it? Roses were always red, and those days when my mom would lend me her lipstick were days that I would strut around school as if I was the coolest gal in the world. Right after this photo was taken, me and my family moved to Kentucky for 6 years. It was almost as if after living in an American society and consuming American school lunch for 6 years, I came out of the experience looking even more Western than before. Frizzy hair, freckles and all, I re-entered the world of Japanese public school. However, this time as a 4th grader. I distinctly remember that the very first class I experienced as a 4th grader in Japanese public school was gym class. I was forced to partake in what I believe to be a sadistic form of public humiliation and introduce myself to the class in my broken, battered, heavily accented Japanese. As soon as I introduced myself, roars of laughter emerged from the class that I will be spending the next 3 years with. Back then, I sort of thought of humans as puzzle pieces. I thought that when I went back to the public school, which I had been attending when I was 4 years old, I would instantly click back with the friends who I had had when I was 4. I thought that we would fit right back with each other, and we would become friends as if no time had passed. However, I realized that humans are really more like Play-Doh. You can never really leave Play-Doh in a room for 6 years and expect to have it untouched or in this exact same shape throughout the duration of the time. Most likely, someone has come and played with it or impacted it in some way which changes its shape. So when I tried to forge a relationship or a friendship with the people who I had known when I was 4 years old, I really just ended up creating this sort of greenish, grayish color of Play-Doh that no one really wants. That color you make when you mix 2 colors of Play-Doh that really shouldn't be mixed together. However, one day, a girl who I had never really talked to before, Seika, suddenly came up to me and said, "Do you want to trade stickers with me after school?" For those of you who don't know or who have never experienced it, back in elementary school, sticker trading was where it was at. Those days where you would trade a boring sticker for a sticker that had some weird texture or a sticker that had that plastic pop-up so that you could put glitter inside of it would be the days where you would smile all day long. I went home and I told my mom, this girl in my class invited me to trade stickers with her after school, but I don't really want to go. And my mom, being the amazing mother that she is, unknowingly pushed me towards the girl that would inevitably change my life by saying, just go. You never really know what could happen. After that one hangout, we became increasingly close. We became that pair in the class that would always do every group work together, that would be annoying the whole class by talking all day long. Those days were filled with laughter, and sometimes they were filled with tears as Seiko would run to the bathroom and I would run after her after she had been bullied for looking like Chibi Maruko-chan. Those days turned into months, and those months turned into years. And it is now today one of the most treasured relationships that I have in my life. It was just one of those idle, boring days that you really think nothing about. We were just sitting in my living room when I suddenly realized, hey, this is a Japanese summer. There's lots of mosquitoes in this room. And I got up and I started killing them left and right. It was almost as if I thought that I deserved a sense of nobility. I thought that I was protecting me and my best friend from being preyed upon by these mosquitoes. I looked to her and I expected her to say, "Hey, you're doing a good job," or something like that. But she looked at me and she said, "How can you kill those mosquitoes? Don't you feel guilty at all? You know, they're living beings too." And I stopped dead in my tracks. It was almost as if I'd heard the most shocking news of my life. I realized that I had been living in a state of cognitive dissonance. Ever since I was a little kid, I had always prided myself on being that girl who always believed that animals were as equal as humans and we should treat animals with the rights that humans have. However, I was okay with killing one. It was a shocking realization. In my head, I realized that until just a few seconds ago, that mosquito was carrying out all the functions necessary to sustain life. If someone had swatted it away or tried to bat it away, that would be an external stimuli, and it would probably buzz away. On a molecular level, a myriad of chemical processes were occurring just so that one mosquito could undergo cellular respiration. However, with one swat of my hand, those processes had been ended forever. According to Festinger's theory on cognitive dissonance, there are 3 actions that humans can take when they realize they're living in a state where their values and their actions don't align. 1, you can take away the element of dissonance by changing one's beliefs or actions. 2, acquire new information which outweigh the dissonant beliefs. Or 3, reduce the importance of the cognitions. I knew that ever since I had been able to formulate coherent ideas and coherent opinions, I had believed that animals were equal to humans. I knew that that's an idea and ingrained within me that would never change. So I realized that I really only had one thing that I could do: stop killing the very beings that I claimed to respect and love. It was the first of many realizations that I would have throughout my lifetime, that I was living in a state where my actions didn't always reflect what I claimed to believe. I had a deep realization of my selfishness, my ability to excuse myself in taking actions and doing things which I claimed inexcusable by standards that I had set myself. Since then, following the similar pattern of Eureka, oh my gosh, what have I been doing all these years? And hey, I should probably stop that. I believe that I have become who I am today. A vegan, an environmentalist, and an avid believer in mindful consumerism. I still struggle every day with the never-ending knowledge that I live in a society, I live in a time and place where most likely anything that I consume or purchase hurt somebody, somewhere, someplace, at some point in time. However, I strive to become a less dissonant person every day, and in the future, I aspire to become an animal rights lawyer, because yes, those do exist. I like to believe, however, that the influence that my friend had on me was not one-sided. On other seemingly boring, idle days, we would sit in my living room again, and I would play programs that I had pre-recorded on the TV. There was one stage when I was really interested in Hell's Kitchen. It must have been something about Gordon Ramsay screaming vile things into the chef's faces that amused me. We would sit in front of the TV and I would be translating everything that he was saying to her. Sometimes I would watch Gordon Ramsay put 2 pieces of bread on either side of a person's face and say, "What are you, an idiot sandwich?" And I would look to my side and I would translate, "Kimi wa nanda? Bakayaro no sandwich ka?" And we would laugh hysterically. Back then, it felt like those days were unimportant. We were just 2 best friends hanging out. However, now, almost 8 years later, I think maybe those days meant something. Today, my friend Seika attends an English-oriented high school in Takarazuka, and as of next year, August, she's off to Perth, Australia for a work stay, even before I'm going to Australia. I find that when I live in a state of isolation, when I don't really have people around me, people to talk with, and people to discuss ideas with, I tend to categorize the things that happen around me into 4 categories. Things that affect me, things that don't affect me, things that are beneficial to me, and things that are detrimental to me. This might seem like an extremely narcissistic, egotistic view of the world. However, I believe that on some fundamental level, to some extent, it's unavoidable to us humans. We tend to see the world in relation to our existence within it. It's almost as if our mind, our consciousness, is trapped within a snow globe. We can't escape the snow globe. All we can really do is see the outside world from the distorted view of the glass. I believe, however, when we create relationships with other beings, with the people around us, we obtain the power to mold or shape this snow globe. We might create a relationship that colors this snow globe, or we might meet somebody who gives us a new perception of the world, who gives us a new perspective that shatters how we previously perceived the world around us. In other cases, we meet people who can shatter kindness or love into our lives, into this perception of the world that we have around us. We never know when we are going to meet the right person who is going to say the right thing just at the right time, which might, by chance, change our lives forever. I admit, a lot of it is based off of chance, and a lot of it is unintentional. However, I do know that if somebody does not take that first step of friendship or kindness or sometimes just sheer curiosity, we never even give ourselves the chance to expose ourselves to the possibility of having this snow globe, this consciousness that is trapped within this bubble to be affected. So if I learn one thing from this experience, and if I learn one thing from having the privilege of having friends and family around me who are constantly challenging me and my ideas and my view of the world, it's this. Treat the people around you, give them the respect and the effort and the time that you would give a hero. Because once you open yourselves up to them, and once you create a relationship, they very well may be. Thank you.